Invading the internet, covering Web 2.0, coast to coast, worldwide, and everywhere in between. This is where you put the social in social media. We are Social Blade.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a super special, extravagant edition of the Social Blade Show. We are about to pop a cap in episode number 56. Episode number 56 of the Social Blade Show. We are so excited. I am one of the co-hosts of this luxurious and well-equipped show. I am J.D. Rucker.
I'm Aaron Ryan.
I'm Jason
Jeff
Ergo.
Kreider.
Yeah, he's Jeff Kreider and I'm Jason Ergo.
So Jeff
Someone forgot the
Ergo
order.
and Jason Kreider are with us today, and they are joined at the hip, and they speak as one. It's an amazing thing.
High five,
We
Jeff.
have some good news and some bad news for everyone. The good news is that our awesome and amazing co-host Victor Barrera, who has been on hiatus due to a family, we'll call it a family emergency because he was getting married. Guess what? He got married last week.
Woo!
Congratulations. Wonderment. Apologies for getting married. Get it? Apologies. So that's the good news. The bad news is that during this hiatus, Victor has done some soul searching, and he realizes now that as a married man, a man of who has to focus on more than just himself, who has to focus on other people, namely his wonderful and beautiful bride, that he will no longer be able to rejoin the show as anticipated. So we wish Victor some tremendous luck, some tremendous opportunities coming to him in the future. I know that he is doing well, and I hope that he will continue to do well. And he is always welcome to come on in the capacity as a guest on the Social Blade Show, up until the point where he starts to have children, in which case we won't want him as a guest anymore.
But yeah,
It's
and
so loud.
but
And I
you
do
know,
apologize. I'm actually. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Aaron. I was interrupting myself. Go ahead.
that's okay. I just wanted to say, I hope Victor gets to watch this at some point and just know that we've appreciated his time with us, and
Yeah.
that the audience is also saying, they will miss you. So
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you, Victor, you really did offer a lot here. I had a lot of great insight and enjoyed your input in the shows. And best of luck to you in
brought
the
it.
future.
Yes, definitely. You brought an element to the show, an element of cerebral, some other big word that I do not personally bring, apparently. So yes, your presence will be missed, and we hope that you are able to do some amazing things, both with your family as well as professionally with new careers and all of that good stuff. I'll actually be in Colorado, so if you want to hang out next week, I'll be broadcasting from there. Wouldn't it be funny if he returns to the show the first week that he's no longer on the show?
That would be pretty funny.
So yeah, because next week, right now, I'm broadcasting from LA, and actually, yes, I'm in Long Beach actually with the illicit digger Louis Bauer, driving my truck as I broadcast, and we will be in his house broadcasting live here in about 3 minutes, but I won't be able to stall long enough. We should probably get straight to stories before then. Speaking of stories, wow, another just absolutely, humongously, incredibly, and just totally amazingly jam-packed week of social media goodness. Now, as I look at my notes, I don't even know where to start. I think we'll start with Jeff. Jeff, let's start with you, right? Or is that wrong?
That's right.
No, we're right.
All right. Booyah.
Yeah.
Jeff, talk to it.
All right. Well, Facebook, it was announced today, actually, that Facebook is testing a stalker button. The stalker button will allow you to subscribe to people over Facebook. And when you subscribe to someone, you will receive a notification whenever they update their profile or make a change. So it's almost like an RSS feed for people that you subscribe to. You'll be able to find the subscription button underneath the profile pic, and you will receive notifications on your mobile device or online when you're online on Facebook, notifying you of the changes being made to profiles that you have subscribed to. So the real question is, who will you subscribe to?
Now, did Nashville call this a stalker button, or are they actually literally calling it a stalker button?
They call it the stalker button, but it's actually subscribe. So it's exactly very similar to an RSS feed.
Yeah, I think it would be more popular if Facebook just came out and told the truth and said, this is a stalker button.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if you can opt in or out of the stalker button.
It's actually funny. That's true too. It's actually kind of funny though. This reminds me of a story I just read. I think it was like last week. I can't remember where. Maybe TechCrunch or something. And they were basically saying that Facebook needed to come up with a similar system that Twitter has for being like a fan of someone or follow them, but not really be a friend of them. And this sounds almost sort of similar to that.
What's interesting about this though is, I mean, it almost makes the news feed less important, because you know how it also goes into the, like, what do we consider friends? So you could have all these friends, but you could subscribe to your true friends and actually really have your own actual circle of friends where you have your own little RSS feed, and leaving the news feed kind of obsolete if you don't check it out.
Hold on now.
But
how is
that's
this?
like lists.
Yeah, exactly
That's-
what I
yeah.
was just gonna say. You're stealing my thunder, Aaron.
I'm sorry, Diva.
I mean, you can categorize it.
No, but seriously, what's how's this different than a list then?
It's not. It's not. I just think
do
it
you have
gives you the
to-
option of.
Do you have to be a friend of someone to use this then?
I would say you would have to. Well, that's a good question.
But the
It would
difference is with lists, you actually have to check them. Where in the subscription, it actually broadcasts notifications, so it interrupts your news feed, telling you what is going on with the people you subscribe to. It's not like a passive thing such as a Twitter list.
If Facebook is listening, or just as an addendum to this or an enhancement to this, it would be interesting if you could set it for certain, like if you could put in trigger words or keywords or whatever you'd want to call it, to where you're not interested in their updates unless they mention a certain thing in their update. You know what I mean? Like, for example, we'll use Kevin Rose, former CEO of Digg, who he just stepped down. But I mean, you might say, okay, so I want to stalk Kevin, and anytime he mentions Digg, I want to know about it. But if he's talking about tea or any of the other things that he sometimes talks about, I'm not interested in hearing about that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. But I just want to go back for a second with how. Okay, so it depends on the privacy settings too. What people would have if their privacy settings have it open. Can't anybody subscribe to them, even if they're not friends?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
That's not cool.
I mean, I think you would have to be a friend with someone to subscribe to them. And actually, knowing Facebook, I think they probably will make it that you can just subscribe to them without being a friend.
According to the article here, it says we're not sure yet if you can subscribe to someone who's not a friend. So they don't really know.
Well,
doesn't know.
creepy.
if we stick to what their philosophy is and what Zuckerberg's philosophy of the internet being social and open, he might take a chance and do it.
Yeah.
We'll have to keep our eye on this.
This is a developing story.
Mm-hmm.
More on this to come.
Yeah.
As it comes.
Now, JD, one of the things you were just asking was sort of a way to see what's happening and using filters. If you find out Kevin Rose or whatever is quitting or stepping down or anything related to that, there's actually a new service that I was actually checking out recently called Social Flow that almost sort of does similar things to that. It's actually a pretty cool idea here. It's made so that you can basically sign up for it. It's made for companies, really, or someone that has a lot of things that they want to tweet out or put on their Facebook page. And sort of what the service does is you build a whole bunch of tweets that you want to write about. Or, for example, I do a lot of videos on YouTube. So if I know that my videos are, in certain categories, I have a video of my dog, I have a video of some event, I have a video of whatever product that I was just reviewing. And what it'll do is you put it into the system, and it analyzes the Twitter stream, finding out sort of what's going on there, what not just the Twitter stream in general, but who the people that are following you are talking about. So if someone's talking about puppies, for example, and you have a tweet that's related to that, it will automatically tweet it out at a time that it thinks it'll get the most traffic there. And not only does it find, what people are talking about, but it also analyzes, how many people are talking at that time, if there's a lot of noise going on, and sort of just, all the things that'll basically get you the biggest bang for your tweet there. So you're not spamming. It's not for spamming. It's really just to effectively tweet things that you'd want to tweet anyway. And it also tracks the stats, uses Bitly to track the stats on the links, so it adapts itself in the future there. So I think it's a pretty cool feature, and I haven't been able to try it out myself. It's in a limited alpha right now, but it looks like it really can help companies in the future here. What do you guys think?
That sounds cool. So wait, let's break it down a little bit. You're saying that with some
Break it down.
keywords you were going a little
Too fast?
little 99. Yeah, too fast for my brain to process.
Yeah.
So wait. Sum it up in just like one sentence there.
All right. So the first thing you have to do is make we're talking about puppies. See, there's a puppy making noise right now. So if you have to originally put in a series of tweets or messages into the system that you want to tweet out at some point, and then the system will monitor all of your friends, everyone that is following you, and it looks to see what they're tweeting, what they're talking about, and the system is smart enough so it'll sort of find which tweet is most relevant, or if any are relevant, and if it finds one that is high enough up on the system there, it basically matches the conversation that's going on, it'll tweet it out then.
So it's going to start, based on the following that you have, it's going to start matching people with similar topics?
Exactly.
Awesome. That is going to be good for business.
Yeah,
seriously, that's really smart.
Yeah, so
Twitter,
go ahead.
This is not going to be made by Twitter. This is going to be made by a third party, but Twitter should really get in on this, right?
Yeah, it could help them
I think
as well,
they should.
To schedule. Yeah.
Well, they've gotten on top of everything else.
Well, this would be something that would be very beneficial in making money, I think. Especially for businesses. Businesses want that. Social flow. It's called social flow.
It's called social
Awesome.
flow, yeah. And yeah, no, absolutely. It'll definitely help business. Again, that's sort of the market here that they're going for. It is a paid service. It's not a free thing. You have to contact them for the price. So I have no idea how much it is. But it would be for businesses. That's sort of their key market here. And again, really just because, businesses, if you're on Twitter or whatever, it's, you try to monitor everything there. But if you don't have something ready, it's, I don't know, a little more difficult, I guess. I don't know. I guess takes a little of the social out of it. But it's not like you're just scheduling a tweet to randomly go out or using, feeding your blog in or something. And it gives you also, I have like 300 videos on YouTube now. And if I did categorize all my videos in there and I saw someone talking about a certain topic and I didn't even remember I had one, it could automatically tweet that out and get me some views on my video, for example, or same with companies trying to market a product or talk about a product or something like that.
Just pretty good target marketing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like what I hate on Twitter is when you say certain keywords and you get an @reply to you on that. So this isn't that. This is more of just joining the conversation. That's what I think is really cool about it.
Yeah, I think that's good. It's going to help. It's going to be great for business to help target their types of audiences too, and sharing content. I think it's a good idea. I think Twitter really should get in on that. Come on and make some money. Ooh, there's JD Rucker. He's joined us.
Yay.
And Louis
The
Bauer.
G-Man.
Skateboards. And Louis Bauer.
It's in the background.
I was going to say, the skateboards gives us a hint that somebody else is there.
JD,
Aha.
you have to be on the new Skype. It won't add you in without it.
Gotta be on the new Skype.
Louis.
So while JD is getting on the new Skype, Aaron, unless you have any more thoughts, Aaron, you want to talk to us about getting slammed? That sounds wrong. That's just. I'm sorry, guys. That was a horrible, horrible transition.
I'm trying to get past this.
Aaron, you want to talk to us about something about getting slammed?
I was looking at the topic. Oh, that was. I'm sorry.
Oh man!
Talk to us about Digg and Reddit and how Digg or Reddit attacked.
You need to stop.
I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna. I'm going on mute. You guys go.
Okay. Well, as many of you know, the Digg V4 debuted last Wednesday, and we've been talking about it ever since. There was a Digg revolt the other day calling it Quit Digg Day, and the Reddit community had embraced the feud, and as many of you should know too as well, especially the Digg users out there, there's always been a bit of a feud between Digg and Reddit. The Huffington Post did a post about how angry users slam Digg with links from rival Reddit, and that's exactly what happened. What they also did was, it was a great moment for Social Blade because they reported about us in stating, what we had to say about the Digg community's reaction was to the new Digg, and even took some of the conversations between @ohboy, who is JD Rucker, and Kevin Rose, and posted on this article as well. And the article that we're referring to is, "Hey, @Kevin Rose, are you listening?" And they took a piece of it for Social Blade and they put it on the site here. And we tried to sum it up, and this is what we've been doing because we do care about our community. And I think this has been the biggest failure that Kevin Rose has done thus far, is, when it comes to Digg, the community is a huge deal. And so we're trying to stay on top of all social networks to ensure that you're maintaining your level of wanting to know about whatever's going on in your world of social media. And one thing is that, with Digg's change, it has hurt its community in a huge way. And we're very happy and pleased that the Huffington Post was able to report on this, and we were surprised by it, and we're proud of it. And we wanted to share that with you as well, because, we do believe that your voice counts. And so you guys have been tweeting, and you guys have been blogging and sharing other people's blog posts about what's been going on with the new Digg and how much it's right now hated, for lack of a better word. And so, we've seen how passionate you guys have been, and just happy to be able to share it. So, with Reddit making the joke, with making their little icon dude with the shovel, and people take it to Reddit, your voice does count. And so, they did an update on this and said, Rose is also replying to some people on Twitter and had been basically, in my opinion, covering for PR reasons, just to kind of keep it quiet. But then there was a second update, and this is the one that intrigued me the most. And I am actually going to read it to you. The second update was formerly an avid Digg user. It was by the HuffPost reader David Dreas, emailed to them that power users aren't the only ones affected by the changes. And so this isn't just a power user thing. And I've noticed on some comments on various blog posts that some people are like, you know what, Digg really needed to change. It was all about power users. Well, here's the thing that backs up what frustrates me the most about the new Digg, and it's not just about power users, it's about a community. And so here it is, quote, "This thing keeps getting reported as either Reddit attacking Digg or the power users trying to take it down, but it's everyone. I've been a Digg user since the beginning. I'm not a power user, and I've never once logged on to Reddit. This new Digg destroys the balance of power, and Kevin Rose is either too stupid to see it or just stands to make so much cash off this new scheme, he doesn't care. Sure, they hurt the power users, but they also took away all the power a regular Digg user had. They took the upcoming stories away, which allowed us to have input on what made the front page. They also took away the bury button, which gave us the power to remove double posts, spam, and stuff that just was downright stupid. They forced us into a new opening page without any ability to get rid of it. They broke everything. Technically, the damn thing just doesn't work." I think that sums up a lot of what people have been saying repeatedly, including us, on what's been going on with Digg. Now, I know that last week we opened up the forum and we had power users on and they were talking about their feelings of the new Digg. And it's been a week now since the new Digg, and a lot more people have been outspoken about it. I just want to say, from my perspective, I was a Digg user and I enjoyed it for the time that I chose to use it. I stopped using it prior to the new Digg, quite amount of time prior to. And I just want to say that, looking at the Digg that I see now and the Digg that I saw last year, it's actually very disappointing. And, I'm going to look at it not from any type of Digg user aspect, but from a social media aspect. And the biggest and most important thing is listening to your community. And if Kevin Rose is listening, and by the way, we did ask him to be on the show repeatedly, and JD did a blog post asking him to be on the show, and he has not replied. But JD has a bit of a story of what was going on between him and Kevin, which we'll get to. But I do want to say, from a social media aspect, the number one thing that you need to do is listen to your community. If Kevin Rose is listening, and I hope you are, that was the biggest mistake here by far, in my opinion, that not listening to your community and disregarding anything that they had to say. And I know that he has responded to some people, but he did not put anything into action as of yet. And, he built a business on a community, and that community happens to be very loyal. And I was saying last night in a Social Blade meeting that we have every Wednesday night, if every social network could have a community that was as loyal as the Digg community, they would be lucky. So, if Kevin is listening, I think the number one thing you need to do, whether that hurts your pride or your ego, or gives a little bit of your own power away, you really need to listen to what your community is saying and put that into place. Now, what do you guys think?
Wow, you said a lot there, Aaron.
Sorry, mouthful.
No, I'm not complaining, because anyone who listened to last week's show could tell that I have a lot to say myself. I would like to say first off that Jeff, your outfit is very Canadian. Not sure what you're doing.
Is this it? I have the same outfit.
I mean, that's as Canadian as
I have an air vent sitting right underneath me.
You
I have
could
a
just
blanket
turn the
over my
AC
lap
down.
you don't see.
Wow.
Turn the
They're
AC
asking
down
if
and
you're
move your
watching
desk.
Social Blade. Yeah, and for those who don't know, this next to me right here is Louis Bauer. Louis Bauer. Well, you are. You just, they can't see you yet because there's a delay in that screen, but you're there somewhere, visibly in the future. You're getting there. So this is Louis Bauer's house. He has been nice enough to give me a venue for the afternoon in Long Beach, so that I could be on video, and so that he can be on video too. So it's very good. Anyway,
Actually, Jeff's outfit would work well in Long Beach.
Jeff's outfit would work perfectly in Long Beach. You would only get shot by half of the people here. So the other half would love you. They'd take you in and they'd send you on missions to grab cars. So yeah, everything Aaron said, everything that was written in the Huffington Post, everything pretty much that's been written. There's been very few articles that have been written, in my opinion, that have been off the wall or just way out there. I've read quite a bit of them. I see Bad Cat in the room. Bad Cat has been as diligent in communicating about Digg, if not more diligent than I have, and that has been awesome. I think we it seems like every story I tweet, I look, and Bad Cat has already tweeted it like 10 minutes earlier. So it's very good. So yes, Reddit pwned him, and Mashable pwned him. Publishers in general pwned him. The concept of the not just the power users being hurt, but also your average everyday user being hurt. These are things that have been on Digg for the last week. They've been hurting us in a way. They've been very, very what's the word for it? Antisocial. I hate to say it. I hate to sound cliche, but this has been a very antisocial social media site for the last week. Now there's changes that we'll talk about here in the future, and things at least appear to be looking very much better. But at the time of that story, and there was probably literally, I would say, 60%, 70% of the major tech blogs and tech outlets out there were reporting negatively about it. Some mainstream sites out there were reporting negatively about it. And for the most part, there were very few people, even those who have supported Digg for a long time, who most everybody was saying that there were definitely problems. Even if they liked the interface, they didn't like the promotional algorithm. If they didn't mind the promotional algorithm, they didn't like the interface or anything like that. There's been concerns. Everyone's saying hi, by the way, Louis. You're a superstar.
Yes, those are skateboards all over.
Yes,
my
they
wall.
love they those are definitely skateboards, and they're definitely on Louis' wall. So yes, but so I agree with the post, at least at the time. And again, we'll get to those changes here in the future. I'm really more interested in what Ergo has to say, because Ergo, for those who don't know, Ergo's been on Digg as long, if not longer, than any of us here, and he has seen all the revolts. He's seen all of the changes. He has gone in and messed with the code, played with the API. Figured out a way to cheat so that he can have a 78% front page percentage. Ergo, what do you think of the new Digg?
Well, I think in some ways it's not all bad. I definitely think, though, that they messed up. They could have made this a lot better. As I kept saying before we knew what the new Digg was going to be, sort of my thoughts on what they should have done was, rather than make it so publishers can auto-submit, that's even fine there. What I really thought that they should have done is really worked on the recommendation engine. I thought that was really the future here. And they should have tailored it so you can actually vote stories up and vote stories down. Novel concept there. But have that actually tune what is your news, basically, what you are seeing as your front page there. And they obviously didn't go that way, but I really still think that if someone can come up with a social news site that does that would be a much better site. Now, that being said, what do I think about the new Digg as it stands right now? At the moment, until they can come up with a site that functions as the other one, as an end user, because really, as you said, that's what I have been for the longest time. I've been using it since, I don't know, 5 years. I think I joined in April of 2005 or something like that. As an end user, and I've read pretty much every story that's hit the front page since then. And by read, I mean the titles, not actually visited every site or story. And at the moment, there's not a good way that I can do that. And even if I do, the news on the front page right now is not conducive to doing that. And I'm stuck reading sports stories and images and things like that I don't want to see, that I used to be able to filter out. So after all of those words, my general thought is if I'm voting, they still have a lot of work they got to do to make it a functional site.
I agree. Jeff, you're one who has most recently, you're the one who most recently has joined Digg, and so you've only seen the last part of version 3 and now the first part of version 4. What, from a new user's perspective, which one do you think? I mean, you didn't have enough time to just quote unquote fall in love with old Digg. So how does new Digg stack up to you, for you?
As someone who just jumped into it, just someone who was really spectating and just starting to submit and just starting to comment and be a part of the community, I mean, it sucks. I would be on Digg pretty much the entire day, just trying to, observe. Much like the first time when I jumped on Twitter, I did, a couple weeks of just observing. And finding just the unique content was just the best part of it. The content that you otherwise wouldn't find on the web. And that is something that I do miss with version 4. I mean, I would have the web browser, Digg web browser, up all day, at work, and just, once in a while look through it, refresh the page, and see what people are finding. And now it's pretty much useless to me, trying to find that unique content. And it sucks for someone, especially trying to get into it and, start to submit and start to do that stuff. I mean, it really discourages the new user to start doing it, because it's like, what's the point? If, Mr. Babyman or Oh Boy or even Ergo can't even get to the front page, or even their content can't be found, what's the point of, Johnny come lately, get up here and try to jump on it. So from a user standpoint and a spectator standpoint, it doesn't work.
Jeff,
it doesn't work.
Let me comment on that a little bit. I'm definitely not upset if it's not letting my content or Mr. Babyman's content or whoever's content get to the front page. That's not what upsets me.
No, but the point,
if it's more democratic in the sense that the community as a whole which if they had that nice recommendation system there, is voting on the stories that are most important, and that's what's getting to the front page. That I would be for. I'm definitely not disappointed that
what I meant by that
users are
is,
having more trouble.
someone who usually gets the front page, who usually finds quality content, more so. JD, Andy, find quality content that people like it, and that's why it gets put to the front page. What I'm saying is, if someone who regularly finds quality content cannot get to the front page or cannot get their content exposed, I mean, what's to say the little guy is going to be able to do it as well? That's strictly that's
observation. What you're saying is actually what they were kind of going for. That's why Kevin Rose on Twit last week was saying that they were trying to do this recommended user system, and he admitted that they failed because they didn't start doing recommended users as a whole, like using the algorithm to recommend people from the start, and they only selected publishers for that recommended list.
Or celebrities.
What?
Or celebrities.
Or celebrities, right. And he admitted that was a failure there. And if they put that in, then technically you will be following people that whatever are determined to be better users, either digging or submitting themselves. Now, personally, I don't think necessarily favoriting people is better than what I was saying with the content specifically. Because for Andy, for example, no offense to Andy, but he might submit topics of all sorts. And if he's submitting lots of sports stories, I'm not sure exactly, but if he was, I don't want to see those, like I said. So I don't want all the stories recommended, which is even what that system's going to be doing. It should be doing it based off of the story itself.
Okay, Starving for More says, bottom line, the problem in a nutshell is that Digg was the home of community, in uppercase, curated content. Now they've replaced the community curators with large media curators.
That is true, and that was probably, I would say, at least from my perspective and a lot of people's perspective, that was it. I mean, that was the biggest complaint. The interface is lighter now, and there's concerns, there's issues, there's problems with that, but some people love it, and that's a matter of choice. But I think relatively universally, the Digg front page 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, was the content curation was done by people who had a vested interest. And I think that's the toughest part, is when you're not submitting content because you think it's good. I would have no problem with seeing Mashable as the submitter of a story and hitting the front page if it wasn't only Mashable. It's not like they're going to think that any of their content is bad, so there's no curation there. If they publish it on their site, it goes on their feed. If it goes on their feed, it goes on Digg. If it goes on Digg, then they're trying to get it promoted. If it gets promoted, they get the traffic. It's an endless loop of no content curation based upon necessarily quality. Even if you do think that your quality is good, it's all content curation based upon what is going to help you out. Now, excuse me. Now that was the problem, and that seems to, crossing my fingers here, guys, it seems to have reverted a bit to a more user-curated style today. And I don't know if is it early enough to can we talk about this, guys? Did we cover the last topic well enough to move on to the changes for today?
Go.
Are you sure?
Go.
Diva?
Go ahead, JD.
Maybe he just needs a Snickers.
So if you compare the front page from the last 6 days to the front page today, which today is marks technically the 1 week anniversary from the launch of the new Digg. Or not the 1 week anniversary. New Digg has been live for 1 week. So the first 2 days of New Digg was still old Digg. In other words, there were still stories that were submitted to old Digg. Those were the only ones that were hitting the top news section on the New Digg for the first 2 days. Then it switched to where the only thing that was hitting by day 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 was publisher content, publisher aggregated content, and publisher created content, with the exception of Leo Laporte, who wasn't creating any content but still hitting. that's a whole other story. No, he was
And
creating
you're
content.
and when you hit, it's like you
There
stand there
forever.
for a very long time.
You loiter.
Yeah.
You loiter on the front page of Digg.
Yeah, over the weekend,
right.
I think like maybe 10 stories hit altogether. It was really bad.
Yeah. No, it's very slow. But 98% of the stories that were submitted by publisher accounts or celebrity accounts, and the other 2% that were not submitted by publisher or celebrity accounts were submitted by regular users, but they were Mashable, Engadget a couple times, and and other stories that were already or other sites that were already hitting. This was the big complaint. This is what everybody was going after. Flash forward to today, and things were different, very different. As of this morning, Kevin had tweeted yesterday that they found a loophole in the algorithm code that they were fixing. And at first, it's like everybody waited in anticipation. He said it was fixed. We looked, and nothing changed. It's like the Digg front page was static for about 6 hours while they were fixing it, and then as soon as the next batch of 6 stories came on, 4 of the 6 were Engadget. So it's like such a letdown. I was so disappointed, so upset personally. And then I wake up this morning and I look at a story, and it's a user. It's like a real human being user who had selected a story and put it on the front page. And I looked at it. It was time.com, and I thought, oh my gosh, maybe it's just some random user and Time dug it. And then I looked in the submitter, and it was Mr. Baby Man. Just like, how funny. So I started looking at some other stories, and I'm like, yes, this is it. This is what we were looking for. This is content that was curated by people. And there were still, don't get me wrong, there's still publisher accounts hitting, but for the most part, the front page was stories that were submitted by actual human beings. There are problems with it, big problems still. These problems do include a seemingly massive ability for spam to hit. And when I say spam, I'm not just talking about somebody getting their own site submitted and hitting. I'm talking about onlineflashgames.com submitting a story called Online Flash Games the Best dash pipe, with the URL, and with a bunch of comments that said, "Thank you. This game is game good. Thank you, mate." And there's like dozens of comments like that. And so, long story short is that there's still an algorithm issue with spam. There's always going to be an opportunity for spam to hit, but of recent, version 3 was pretty darn good at eliminating spam. Now, with that said, people are like, oh my gosh, that's a perfect example of why we need the bury button. Luckily, Digg's moderation team or whoever it was that was on the other end saw it, and they did get rid of those particular stories immediately. Otherwise, most of the stories have been curated by actual individuals. And if you look at the Digg counts, you will see that quite a few of the Digg front page stories, or the top news stories, however you want to call it, are at least breaking 100, 200 digs.
So JD, are you saying here now that what I was the tongue-in-cheek post that I did, that the truth about the new Digg revealed they got editors, now that actually is true? If their spam team is what's doing the burying.
So
now.
the community isn't, burying stuff.
No,
the editors are.
That's right. I mean, that's why they got rid of Reddit on the front
community
page.
is burying, but they can report something. Now,
actually, Kevin did say, I think this was on Twitter also, they sort of still do have a bury button. He did say that if you click this little X here, the hide story,
right.
If enough people do that, it does still send a bury back, if you will.
It does, and I think that it's more of a trigger than anything else. Unlike the bury button, where it's cumulative and there's an algorithm that was associated with berries, just as there's an algorithm that's associated with digs. Okay.
Yeah, it's more like reporting.
I'm sorry.
It's more like a report than a bury.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's triggers. It triggers them to say, hey, let's take a look at this. I want everyone to know this just from a personal perspective. I am someone who has been buried a lot. I get berries. People bury me. They don't like my Hawaiian shirts or something. I don't know what it is. Perhaps it's my association with Louis Bauer that just forced them to push that bury button on my stuff. And I got a lot of stories buried. With that said, I still do promote the idea of having a bury button, because there is certain times when content, even if it's not straight up spam, just doesn't belong on the front page of Digg. So that's one thing. I don't think it's ever going to change. Keep in mind, I'm pretty sure that we're never going to see a return of the Berry button.
Yeah, just in general, absolutely true. I think it was absolutely true. Was saying, yeah, in the room. What if you click the X after every story after you read it? I think, again, this is just speculating, but I would assume that they have that does go through an algorithm, and if more people than normal click the X, that's what triggers the alert. I'm guessing, and that's pretty scary.
Nice.
I'm sorry, Ergo, but I saw Louis like looking in his closet. I was thinking, what is he doing? And he came up behind JD.
Oh, it got a little cold.
Yeah.
Isn't this the way we roll?
We got dueling gangs going on Social Blade. So I was kidding when I said we were gonna put a cap in 56.
Exactly.
Word.
Word. Well,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me ask this question real quick. What do you think the lasting effect of the revolt will be? Do you think a lot of people who went over to Reddit won't come back? And how many people you think Digg has lost to it?
So there's a dynamic here that is, to me, if there's anything that's truly positive out of all of this, and keep in mind, we're nowhere near the conclusion. I'd written a story kind of mocking this, not mocking, but duplicating the story, so to speak, that was on, when Reddit. Okay, let me start over and slow down before I start having an aneurysm or something. So, Reddit had all those stories that hit the front page, got lots of publicity. They were able to pick up a tremendous amount of traffic as a result, relative to what they were used to getting. They got a lot, and Reddit's not a small site by any means, but they even saw they had to admit they saw a spike of approximately 30% based upon them hitting on Digg and getting a lot of that Digg carryover. As a result, Reddit was able to pick up, and we know this drill down had 40% of the Reddit team, the Reddit crew was on the drill down last night talking about it, and they said that this wasn't just crappy. They've seen traffic spikes before when they get on Colbert or when they get on Drudge or any of these places. This was different. The Digg spike, not only did it create traffic, but it generated users. A lot of people were creating accounts. More so, a higher percentage. Like even though they had a 30% increase in traffic, they had like 100% increase or more than 100% increase in actual people joining Reddit. So long story short, there was a lot. Some of those people will come back if Digg is able to bring them back based upon the change that they've done today and additional change they'll make in the future. There's a good chance that Digg will be able to recover. Assuming that happens, Reddit will lose some people, and that's fine. But the gains they have made, a lot of that is permanent. A lot of people that went to Reddit, it's like, okay, so this is good. So that aspect of it, Reddit is stronger as a result. Digg, on the other hand, even though there's a chance they've lost face, they've lost users, if they are able to turn this around and basically all they've got to do, they don't even have to make everybody like the site. All they've got to do is make them like it enough to where the positive or the negative press stops, and the anger and aggression that's been turned towards publisher accounts, if that eases a bit, then we go back to basically plan A, the whole goal of doing it like this, which is to use these major publishers as an outlet to try to gain more users to Digg. If they can keep everybody at bay long enough to let this kick in, let sites like New York Times, CNN, Mashable basically promote Digg in a way, then and generate traffic to Digg from there, then this could be a win-win for both sites. In other words, yes, Digg has been damaged. They've been hurt by this. They can recover. Kevin Rose, as I said, we did a post. I did a tongue-in-cheek, not a tongue-in-cheek post. It was an actual post, just a really quick one saying that things turned out better than expected. These changes they made, including one that Ergo pushed for from day one, and he was able to get basically your wish was fulfilled, Ergo. Timestamps are back. So so that's good. You didn't notice that?
No, I did. Oh, I'm not sure. Are they? Oh, they are really back. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're back. They're back in full force.
I was using a unreleased or soon to be released plugin that also was adding them in, so I didn't know if it was me or.
No.
Yeah, I see they're there.
Even on regular Digg, your
Nice.
timestamps are definitely back.
Excellent.
And that's something that Ergo's been pushing for. Upcoming stories section, which has been a massive complaint both by regular users, even publisher accounts. Everybody's been saying they want upcoming back in some form or fashion. That's coming back. Kevin tweeted that the other day, and he replied to this post about how the algorithm is changing and said that more changes are coming. It'll be about a week. Actually, do you have that? Do you have that story, Ergo, by chance?
Yeah, I'll put
From
it
the
up.
blog
Keep,
post?
keep talking. I'll pull it up.
It's well, it's his. It's not the blog post itself. It's actually the front on Digg itself. Kevin responded. Aaron Ryan submitted the story, not our Aaron Ryan, but Digg's Aaron Ryan submitted the story, and then Kevin had one of the early replies, basically saying that this is a start. We're happy. More changes are coming. So, long story short, if and Ergo will pull that up and we'll be able to read that. But to answer your question, if they are able to correct Digg to where it's able to make enough people happy, but more importantly, not make more people angry, then there's a huge chance that they will be able to grow as a result of this. We'll call it Digg version 4.2 or whatever we want to call it, version 4.3 or something. We're technically in 4.1. Great changes, good start. Still more to be done. And so the next version of Digg, which according to Rose's response, do you have it yet?
No, do you have the link? Can you send it?
It's just go to digg.com. It should be on the second pagination thingy, which is another major complaint.
Yeah,
I wish I could say just go to page 2, but I think it's the second JavaScript based
Second load.
Yeah, the second load.
Oh wait, that's horrible.
That was actually something
You guys
that
are bad tonight.
that was
pulled an
something
Ergo.
that was something I had actually commented about the pagination on one of those threads, and Kevin had replied to me actually saying that they would look into it, but he said it was hard in Cassandra. What's it called? What's it called? JD? Story.
Digg changes. It turned out better than expected, or something to that
I'm not
effect.
getting any match with change in a search.
On Digg today, everything went better than expected.
Just send me the link.
Yes,
when you
there it
get
is.
I have
You
it.
just got
I
it.
have
Jeff,
it.
can you open up the comments and read us Kevin Rose's comment?
Send me the link, Jeff.
Kevin Rose's comment on it.
Jeff, send me the link.
Not on the
sending
story,
it
on the page itself.
Okay, yeah, hold on.
We do prepare for the show every Wednesday.
Well, this was. We normally do. No, so while they're getting that ready, long story short, assuming that they can do that, and assuming that they can stop the flow of negative press, continue to make the publishers happy, which many publishers have been, some have not. Continue to make the publishers happy, get the positive press flowing in that direction, make the core group of users, your 20 million average everyday, visiting Digg, not every single day, but quite often, those 20 million users who are the core, the real power behind Digg. If you can keep them happy and not complaining, and then if you can keep the quote unquote power users or the avid users or whatever you want to call them, at least happy to the extent that they're able to see themselves, their submissions hit the front page, that the content curation aspect has indeed returned, then I believe that we have a chance of having Digg last longer than 2 months. Because I had my doubts as of yesterday and the day before. I would not have bet on Digg lasting into 2011. Serious.
In
That's how
general,
bad.
you know what my biggest thing that surprised me about this whole thing? On the old Digg, at least, they had a method that they could put announcements up at the top of the page here. So when you go to the site, it would put something there. I don't know, maybe they got rid of that functionality and they're just not able to do it anymore. But I really think they could have saved a lot of, stopped a lot of bad press if they put like a little sticky up at the top saying, yeah, we know the site's broken, we're working on it. Something like that. They didn't have anything like that there.
Hello.
Basically, the only way they could get out was through Kevin.
Yeah, and also this was funny. I got this email last night. I just wanted to share this. They sent out a mass email to everyone that was registered or something with, "It's alive. We've created a monster. The new Digg is here." So they mass spammed everyone, but they couldn't still
help.
say that they're working on problems.
Because there was no problems. They're actually just trying to backpedal. And, if they were really going to do it right, they should have taken their community into consideration before rolling it out. It really was just ignorance. And, they're going to get backlash from it. It's always great to move forward and create new ideas and go forth within social media. But if you're not going to take your community into consideration, then you don't roll it out. I mean, Digg is a social network based on its community that was loyal and that worked hard to make it as popular as it is. It was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry.
We're gonna dive into the conversation we had last night.
Yeah, Aaron. The community. There's two parts to that. There, yes, there is a community, and the community. I mean, we're a part of the community here, but again, I come to this. I at the end of the day, I'm an end user. Digg was my primary source to get the news. So as an end user here, if they determined that the system was being gamed so badly by the community, and that they had to do a totally new revision to combat that problem and to make it work a lot better, if that's what they determined they had to do, then I support them on that there. I just don't think that
absolutely
their
that's
rollout.
Not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when you have a new rollout, I don't care what your reasons are. If you're a social network based on a community, you need to take that community into perspective, no matter what the reason is you're doing the new rollout for. If it's for gaming, it's because you want to add a new feature, if you want to get more social, whatever the reasons are. And I know, I mean, Jeff and I had this huge argument yesterday.
Oh my god! But I think the thing they were trying to do is correct the problem with the community.
The problem wasn't with the community, it was with the way they had set it up.
That's why they changed the algorithm. That's why the community was the problem, because they kept forming berry brigades. That's why you don't get the berry button. And that's why you can't do a lot of other stuff. So I think they basically took it and they said, we know best, and we will ask a few people, but we're not going to ask the community at large.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think that is the wrong thing to do. I know that Digg is a business. I understand. I mean, we talked about that yesterday too. It's a free business. But you can't create your business on a community and then disregard your own product. I mean, that's basically what it is. And what comes down to it is, regardless of the berry situation, that wasn't the majority of Digg. And so if they're making few alterations to try to fix
but how
those
much
issues,
bad press did they get? How much
well,
bad
who cares?
press
They got
did
press.
berry brigades make Digg? It doesn't matter if I wasn't using Digg and I heard about all these berry brigades and these conspiracies, even though they were, not, as credible as some think they were, it's still going to turn me off to the site. And they're trying to get rid of that. They're trying to make it more mainstream.
I'm just going to throw this out there again.
Well,
but hold on. I'm just going to throw this out there again. If they did the system that I had suggested to make it so that it was a giant recommendation engine rather than having users like that, burying and digging would still work perfectly fine. And berry brigades, they wouldn't affect everyone. They would just affect you. So, okay, you won't see any more stories about whatever. Great.
That's the thing. They could have done things differently. But Jeff, they could have done things differently. And the thing is, this isn't about power users. This isn't about certain individuals. This is about an entire community. Some people that spent hours of making sure that because that was the rule of the game, you had to dig all of your friends.
See, that's a game. That honestly was not the best. Thing to do.
Honestly,
that did not help the community. Everyone digging 300 stories a day.
True, because
no, it's true. No,
it kept in touch with what was going on with Digg.
But people,
it kept you there, and it gave you an incentive.
It didn't, Aaron. It didn't.
Finish my sentence, please. What I'm trying to say is that it kept an incentive of trying to get people to want to be a part of this community, and that's a part of the addiction, and that's why people were so passionate, and that's why people love Digg so much.
Yeah,
I mean, let's get real. That's the end. That's the end story right there. They wanted to see their story on the front page of Digg, correct?
Which that is partly true, but that was promoting just being it being a game. Which, don't get me wrong, I love the game. But that was not in the best interests of the community per se. That was just who could game the system the best, basically, and gather the following there. Because you were seriously, people were digging 300 stories a day, just everyone of their friends' stories. That's all you were doing there, not really noting. I mean, yeah, you trust, at least a little bit, that they're submitting good things. But in short, you were just digging. You weren't paying attention to the content. That wasn't what was king.
And perhaps a user like yourself who wouldn't want to do that, you'd rather read the stories, doesn't work for you. But for the majority of Digg users, that's what they did, because
No,
they
no,
wanted
no,
to do
no.
whatever they could to get their story that they spent time finding, titling, describing, adding to the proper category,
But-
to see it on the front page. They wanted to see that pop. And, sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. You just had to play the game. And that, honestly, from my own perspective of using Digg, that's what I enjoyed about Digg, was that feeling of being competitive. It was unlike any other social network out there. And now it's just this mundane, boring site that, and don't get me wrong, I love social media.
The goal
reading
of
about
Digg-
They
people.
basically
The goal
They
of
basically-
sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
they basically are saying the money to be made is not in the hardcore users or the users that use it,
Absolutely.
regularly. The money to be made is the casual user. Is the people that aren't even part of the community yet, are the people they're trying to attract, not the people who are currently part of the community.
Yeah.
Well, I just think that if you build an idea and this is what you're going to roll out, and you're going to say this is what we want, and you're going to ask people to take part in it, and then they're going to put their hard work, time, and effort. I mean, really, it's a slap in the face. It's a slap in the face. And I'm not even a power user, and I feel passionate about the fact that I know, and I've heard enough stories, and even the time that I've taken to actually take part in the Digg community. It's not easy. It's not just this easy thing that you can just become a part of rather. You have to take the time, you have to dig other people's stories, you have to friend the right people, you have to get to know different stories and be able to understand the algorithm, enough. And it's hard. It wasn't just this easy thing to become a part
Yeah.
of. That's why everybody wasn't a power user. And it was something to strive for. And for Digg to just take that away.
But Aaron,
But hold on.
that is called
Okay,
that
so
is
this
called
question-
playing a game. That's not called giving the best content to the users there.
But the question, but this
Okay,
is
I'm not
okay,
saying I'm
hold
not
on.
saying the new
Wait,
system that they rolled out does
I'm
that.
turning moderator. I'm becoming a moderator here.
Whoa.
All right. Ergo,
Yes.
go ahead.
You interrupted my train of thought. What was I saying? In general, okay, Aaron, I'm not saying that the new version that they rolled out does what I want. I'm just saying that the system that they had in the past there, where you have to dig, like you say, all your friends' stories, that is not providing the best content to the community there. That is not beneficial to the millions, whatever, of Digg users.
Agreed.
become lobbyists. You're just,
Yeah,
No,
you're
I
becoming
agree,
lobbyists.
but
Thank you,
hello,
Jeff.
if you looked at
Hold on. Let her go finish.
Every time you go ahead, Aaron.
Ah! I love
You
that
interrupt my
moderator.
train of
No,
thoughts, and the
What I was
Aaron,
it's just
Go
it's
ahead.
just that it just comes down to this, okay? I'm not talking about the full-on gaming action and let's just dig whatever story, but a lot of your friends that you chose to friend on Digg actually had good content because
Time
they
out.
did.
Now it's Jeff's turn. I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
ahead,
Because
go ahead,
they didn't
kidding.
really care about what they were subbing, because in fact they knew what type of community Digg was, and they went to the front page. And this is what it comes down to. And I apologize if I sound snotty tonight, because it's not you guys I feel snotty towards. I feel snotty towards Kevin Rose, because it's not him as a person, it's him as a CEO and an owner of a social network that just totally disregarded its own community. And I know I love the way I say a boot too, but the thing is that he really should have been more careful in taking in consideration his community. It seemed as though he didn't even pay attention to his community at all, as if they didn't even exist. And his popularity of his site was
Okay.
based on Digg community.
Okay, well, hold on. Here's
wait,
the
Jeff,
question.
Jeff?
No, here's
Jeff?
the question.
Jeff, what makes you snotty?
Because I have a runny nose.
Okay, good. Continue.
Okay, here's the question for all of you to answer, especially in the chat. Is it possible for the community to become larger than the platform itself? And if that happens, when the platform wants to change and it's not in the interest of the community, are you supposed to listen to the community? Or are you supposed to act on the interest that you think is best for the business that you're running?
It's not about the becoming larger. It's about the quality of your community. It's not. It didn't outgrow its platform. That wasn't the point. The point is that Digg wanted to change and didn't take in consideration what type of community that they had, and that was their biggest mistake.
Aaron, let's just get one thing straight here. What are we saying that the interest of the community is? What are we most upset about? Are we upset that you can't, you don't have a method to dig all your friends' submissions in order that'll make you more popular and you'll get your stories on the front page? Is that what you're complaining about?
No, it's what frustrates me the most is that they just totally disregarded its entire community of real people.
What about
and
though?
Put in
how do they
celebrities?
Yeah.
Well, they put in celebrities and they put in like various other sites like Mashable and Gadget.
So hold on. So you're complaining about the recommended people list then? Is that what?
They're basically saying the community was not valued. Like there was no value in the current community.
Exactly.
And that's
absolutely
there's a slap in the face.
Absolutely, and they didn't even like roll anything out to say like, this is what we're doing. Let us know your feedback. And really
they did. They hold on. They well, two things there. They did.
Really?
They had new Digg for several months. Now so it wasn't just something dumped upon them, which actually. Yeah, Mike Singer made a video of this, I think, earlier. I watched also, and that was his biggest complaint as well, that they didn't. But they had new Digg, new.digg.com. You could join that for several months. Now, did they actually
Not what I'm talking
did they actually take any feedback from there? I don't think so, but they definitely did show people the site, so it wasn't just dumped upon you. You could see it for, I think, since April or May or something like that. It was
sorry,
there for a while.
Jason, but I did receive the new invite. Okay, that is different. Yes, you can receive a new invite before they roll it out to the public and pretend that they're going to take your feedback and care. But if they don't, then what's the point? That's what I'm saying is don't pretend to do something. It's do it all the way or don't do it at all. You know what I'm saying? Like have respect for your community, period. That's what I'm saying because
this goes back to if the community grew larger than the platform and the community itself has its own interests to look out for, is it in the right interest to Digg, who's trying to take it in a different direction, to become more profitable, to grow, to submit themselves to the community, or to act on their own interest to run the business, to make it profitable, and move forward? I think that's where
I think you're missing the
and this
point.
is the philosophical difference: is as a business, though it's a business that is in social media and it reacts to the community, you almost have to regulate the community in itself, and the community doesn't want to be regulated, but it has to be regulated.
I understand that, and I agree with you, but I'm going to say that you're missing the point. This isn't just a business separate from social media. This is a business, this isn't a business separate from social media and then using social networks. This is a business based on a social network itself, and that what a social network is built up of are people. And so its business foundation was based on its community. We're not talking about,
but it brings me to the same analogy that I brought up with the whole World of Warcraft thing. Where World of Warcraft was more to the hardcore users at first, and the casual users, it was no fun. Because the hardcore users got all the loot, they got everything, and then when World of Warcraft wanted to expand, when they wanted to grow, they had to open up, they had to change things to make it easier or more inviting for the casual gamer to come on. And what happened? They became more profitable. They became larger. Though they pissed off the hardcore gamers, the serious gamers, they became profitable. And in the end, after the whole thing blew over, everyone was happy.
I don't think in this scenario actually that's what
it totally makes sense.
Well, I understand your scenario, but I just I don't agree with the analogy in the sense that it's making it easier for the general person, because that I don't think it is.
What do you mean making it easier for the general person?
You were saying the casual gamer, so you mean Joe Bob or something that I started a blog at Joe Bob's blog, whatever, and getting my blog out to the public. I don't think that makes that easier at all.
I think they were trying to level the platform. Is what I'm saying.
Which is fine.
I think
that's not what
the solution that I keep suggesting would do something like that, but the system that they rolled out absolutely does not.
Well,
no. If that was their
hold on,
intentions,
JD has a thought.
So first off, any VCs out there, contact me, and we'll get our go to build us a new one.
Absolutely. If someone, I have some ideas.
$650,000 is what we priced it out at. So please contact us if you would like to put together a little site. We'll call it. I think dog was already taken, so we'll call it DAG.
Like Social Blade
Um,
Dagger.
Okay, so there's that. That with that out of the way, let's focus on something that I think we're missing from a perspective. We can rip on why Digg made the change, what they did wrong, if they did anything wrong, if it was their lack of community involvement, if it was lack of this, lack of that. One thing that we haven't touched on really, and this is kind of funny, is the reasoning behind it. We keep saying it's all for business, or it's all for this, or it's all for that, but there is what's the best way to put it? There's a rumor going around that, and we don't normally share rumors. We only deal with facts here on the Social Blade Show. But there was a rumor rolling around that I got to hear today that was kind of interesting, and it's more of a conspiracy theory than a rumor. But I want to run it by you guys to see really what you guys think, as well as what the audience thinks of the possibility of this. So, as everybody knows, this looks a lot like, Digg in function looks a lot like um, Twitter 2009, and it's been publicized that Digg has been working on these changes for quite a long time, since 2009 potentially.
No,
Now,
that's completely accurate because that's when they started talking about it. It was about February
right,
2009 when they announced it.
exactly. So the theory and the rumor part that I'll get to is that they did consult with a company that was trying to consider buying them, and this company that was considering buying them said, "Look, we like you in theory, we like you in process, but there's certain things that you need to change to really fit in with what we want in the end. What we want is a site that is focused on quality based upon authority. In other words, we want a site that doesn't just, push out the little guys. It's not that we don't want to look at the little guys, but we sure do have a lot more faith in a story by the New York Times than we do have faith in a story on Louis Bauer's blog, for example. So, if you can focus a little bit more on that and help us to basically create a site that will allow for content to be exposed and voted upon based upon not just what the Digg community wants, but also how the publishers themselves feel, as well as a voting site that would allow for competing stories, say the same story on TechCrunch versus the same basic story on Mashable, for example, allow competing stories to get a certain level of voting done to them. In other words, to where there's sort of a vetting process. In other words, with your community, you should be able to help us to, you should be able you will be more attractive to us if you can tell us which story on the new iPad app is a better variation, whether that's the Mashable story, the TechCrunch story, the Read Write Web story. So yeah, that was the theory, and this was when when it was basically valued at around 200 million, and a lot of people passed on it. This rumor is that basically Digg's consultation was done with Google, and that many of the changes that we're seeing were recommendations on how to make Digg more attractive to a company such as Google. And then there was silence.
I'm soaking. I'm soaking it. Okay, so say that last part one more time.
So basically, the rumor, the theory that was told to me in confidence today is that Google encouraged Digg to be much more of a. They don't need Digg's help discovering content. They need Digg's help in ranking authoritative content.
Google.
Which is kind of what I had been saying. Here, let me just put up sort of my thoughts here, Jeff. I'm going to cover you for a second. They went from a system where we had power users to a system where we have now power news sites. What was suggesting earlier with where you can vote up and down content and it's recommended based off of that is more of a power stories system. The real answer is using all of them all together.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I mean, they've basically sold out, if that's the case.
But hey, now one thing I want to mention here.
It's a rumor.
We can all well yeah, that part too. It's a rumor that makes a lot of sense. First off,
No, it does make a ton of sense.
but it's also a we can rip everybody as a purist until they're put into that situation. If you're sitting there and you have a company with employees, and these employees, your company is currently not making money. You have employees who are losing their jobs. You have money investors that have sunk millions of dollars into your site, and you're not making them a penny. And you have pressure coming from every direction. And then Google walks into your company and says, "We might actually consider buying you for a few $100 million if you would make certain changes such as this." Are you a sellout if you're trying to succeed? If you're trying to not let your business fail, to not keep people from getting fired, to take these people who've invested money and put their trust in you, which you have not been able to deliver upon for the last 5 years? If that were the case, are you a sellout for doing that? The answer is yes, but can you fault them for it, I guess?
Yeah, you're a sellout to the community, but you're not. I mean, this is the thing where, like, exactly what you said. I mean, you have people to feed. You have people you have to look out for at your business. I mean, and this is what goes back to the whole thing where, do your interests lie with the community or do your interests lie with the business that you're trying to run? And in this case,
if you don't appease the community, then no one's going to use your site.
Exactly. See, you guys have been arguing a lot about it, and it's funny because you're almost saying the same thing.
I know.
The right way to go would be to run your business, taking your community in mind, and making sure that you do things that will appease your bottom line as well as your top interest, namely your community itself. So theoretically, I mean, this I'm not defending Digg. I'm not defending any of their actions because, quite frankly, everything that's led up up until yesterday has been a debacle, a farce, and an absolute failure of epic proportions that will, as I mentioned in one blog post, this is a case study of what not to do if you're going to roll out something on a social news site. I mean, this is devastatingly bad. They can correct it, and it looks as if their actions today are heading in that direction. We could go on forever, guys, but we are so far beyond in the story. Ergo, it's your call. What do you think?
What am I calling?
You're calling as to whether or not we should wrap it up.
I think it's about
because I can go on for another 2 hours.
Nah, I think
Patrick's gonna go ahead and go.
Yeah.
Here we
4. I'm gonna count to 10. Better not come up your mind. 5.
Ergo's indecisive.
Social Blade is gonna get the KO. 6.
Yeah.
We should. I mean, we can continue the conversation, but I think that we should.
I think we've stated everything. I think pretty much.
Yeah, I think we have to, and I think the thing is that it's just that we want our community to know that we actually do care about how you're feeling about your social networks that you choose to favor. And this is just one to be example. And that's what Digg should be doing as well. I'm not saying that we're doing a better job than them, but if you're going to take part within social media, it's very important to listen to your community. And that goes from not just a business that's in social media as a social network like Digg, but for any business out there. Even if you just have a Facebook page or a Twitter page or a YouTube channel, that's important. Listen to your community at all times, because if not, it could be a big, huge mistake on your part.
What you guys don't know is we actually scripted that whole debate, and we each chose sides out of a hat, and we came up with a script. And good thing we ended, because my script ended, and I don't have anything left to talk about.
We have nothing else to say about that. Thank you. Ergo, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Again, I'm going to put up my list here. My list that power users alone bad, power news sites alone bad, power stories could work alone, I think, but really the algorithm should account for everything altogether and allow for vetting of stories by users, and also should be recommended, based off of your own particular style.
Right.
Social Blade coughed how many times this week? Cough.
Hey,
Nice.
we popped once, I think.
Yeah, we popped once, and then Digg was broken in the sense that it popped on was it Saturday? And since nothing else popped since then, it was there for a long time. But that's all.
Yeah. So
That was
one
funny.
more quick thing before we take off. I did notice I don't know if this is a change or a bug. It's sad, but you can't tell sometimes. Um, but if you were to look at the front page right now, you'll see in the top news section, at least in my variation of it, that the top news section is algorithmically ordered rather than ordered specifically by how many digs a story gets. In other words, it appears
Oh.
that there seems to be a ranking algorithm amongst the top news and all
Ah,
topics right sidebar, so that
interesting.
stories with a lot of digs may not necessarily be above a story that's moving faster. Like for me, I'm
So
showing that.
trending instead of most dug.
Right. Yeah, exactly. In other words, that story number 5 on there has 591 digs. An older
Well,
story has 977 digs, and it's actually below it. Very much like, say, oddly enough, the Reddit front page. That's how it actually ranks stories. That it takes into account how many digs or how many points it's gotten currently, how many points it's getting in that particular hour, and how long the story has been on that area. If that is the case, and then I love this. This is a change that I can actually get behind because it does it does make it to where you can see something that's moving quickly and it has an opportunity to get even more digs. I like that. But we'll see again. Now watch it gets fixed tomorrow and we get an announcement that was a bug.
Wait, I scratch all the stuff I've said because Bad Cat just informed me that there's a lot of Canadians on Digg, so I've got to scratch everything now.
Oh, there's a lot of Canadians on Digg.
Hmm.
So scratch
Especially
all that.
now. Yes.
Yes.
No. I'm kidding.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
I think they're last time I checked, it's pretty good. It's approximately 5% of the Canadian population is on Digg. So there's about 43 diggers who are from Canada. So two things. First off, I want to suggest that I've got that story that I was telling you guys about. I want to read Kevin's comment on that real quick, if I can find it again, because I found it. Then I
have it up on the screen, JD.
See, it's already up on the screen, but I don't see the screen, so I'm going to read it from this screen. Kevin Rose said, "We still have work to do. Expect to see ongoing tweets to the promotion algorithm, coming back, which has been a major complaint, and a few other fixes. It's going to be another week or two, but know that we are working hard on these problems. Thank you." And here's a Kevin Rose comment that has over 100 digs.
Well, 99 in my version.
Well, your version is old. So point being is that there's more stuff coming. What I would suggest is that first off, we should, in my opinion, invade Canada. Second off,
Oh God. Thanks, starving for more.
second
Go on.
off, I think that it would behoove us to put up a blog post asking for feedback from you, the Digg community, since there is no way to offer feedback to Digg other than through a comment section, which we cannot know for sure if it gets read. I think if we take it consolidated, we'll go through. There's been dozens and dozens of blog posts with recommendations. We can sort through all of those and try to find some of the ones that make sense. We'd also like to hear from our Social Blade community as to what changes, tweaks, and no, let's face it, the change of go back to version 3, that's not going to happen. So go ahead and play all of those. Everything else is fine. Tell us your thoughts. We'll put that up in a blog post later this week before the weekend. And last but not least, we would like to remind everyone that for the next 2 weeks, those who are joining the show now, we have decided, based upon the input of our community, to have a logo design contest. Ergo, how will they be able to submit a logo?
We'll put something up on the blog, but just for anyone listening, we'll also definitely take it via email, just since that's all we have at the moment. So thesocialblade@gmail.com, you can submit it there, and we'll definitely look at it. Otherwise, we'll put something up on the site, and it'll either be via email there or somewhere else. What is the prize, Lucy Brown? At this moment, we still have to think about what exactly we're going to do, but at the very least, you'll definitely be given a lot of credit for coming up for something, but we'll definitely see if we can put together a prize as well.
Agreed. Thank you all for coming this week. It's been a wonderful week, as I said. Thank you to our guest, and that guest this week is Digg.com. We haven't been with Kevin Rose himself. I did, and if you are watching, or somebody can refer this to Matt Williams. Yes, I am the stalker that found your cell phone number and left a message. It wasn't a
True
joke.
story.
It really is a JD Rucker, and I did find your cell phone, and I did leave you a message, Mr. Matt Williams, new CEO of Digg. So when you get that message, you got my number. Call me. Thank you guys, the audience, for coming today again. Wonderful to have you. Wonderful input. Starving for more is a riot, that is for sure. Keep coming back every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. in Newfoundland. Which
Are we forgetting something?
Nova Scotia. Whoa,
Nope,
Nova Scotia.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
We were in Newfoundland. It's 11:30 in Newfoundland. 11
I think
o'clock.
there's a certain light speed.
We're actually no. Then the funny part is we're going to after we're done invading Canada, we're going to rename Nova Scotia Facebook Land. So that should Aaron will probably stay there anyway. We do have a Twitter account. We have a Facebook account. We have a YouTube account. We'd like you to follow it. It's twitter.com/Social Blade. Same thing with Facebook. Same thing with YouTube. Just go to Social Blade channels on all those and follow us, friend us, subscribe to us, comment to us, send us spam, send us malware. We don't care. We just want to hear from you. If you have a suggestion for a guest, which we have been taking suggestions for a guest, we would like for you to do that. We did have the lovely, talented, and wonderful Amy Vernon suggest that Jerry James Stone come on the show next week. So we're going to take that suggestion. And everyone, if you do hear or talk to Jerry James Stone, make sure to embarrass him publicly and goad him into coming on the show. Tell him that he's just not worth it as a human being if he doesn't come on Social Blade Show next week to talk about his wonderful new program, Trackly. But if you do have a suggestion, go to our blog. You can also you'll see a section there called Suggest a Guest. You can also read some of our Social Blade style posts on our Social Blade posts. I'd like to thank lightspeednow.com. That is lightspeednow.com for being our sponsor for this week's show. Thank you very much, sincerely, respectfully, and wonderfully, ominously, and all that good stuff. Make sure that you sign up for SMS alerts. You can sign up at j.mp/subus. That's j.mp/. And you can subscribe to us. You can also subscribe to other wonderful shows, such as Ask Outcast at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesdays, such as Band on the Web at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, also on Tuesdays, and such as The Drill Down with The Baby Man, The Salim, and Teachhead at 9:30 Eastern Time on Wednesdays. And don't forget to come to see us every Thursday night, because we try our hardest. And most importantly, because we are Social Blade.